Today we're talking about Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Mass Effect 1, playing it cold, never played it before. Here's our thoughts.
Never ever played it. Hello and welcome to the Nerd Card. I'm Phil.
I'm Chuck.
And today we are discussing Mass Effect 1.
Legendary Edition.
Which includes Mass Effect 1,
Yep.
Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3. However, having never played these games, we started with the first one, and we haven't played the second one yet. So we want to get into the first one and see what our thoughts are on it.
Phil had to hurry up and beat it today for homework because I was already done.
I did. I had to play an extra 3 hours today just to get it done.
Homework's a bitch sometimes. We wanted to make this, as Phil said, because we never played it before, so we wanted to give everyone our impressions as people who were first-timers with Mass Effect. It's a very super popular game, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And me coming from the world of RPG, and I've heard about how it's an RPG, I'm going to disagree a little bit. It has RPG elements to me, but it's not. It's more like a shooter where your decisions mean something.
Yeah, in that way, when you describe it in that way, it brings to mind my favorite franchise of all time, which is BioShock.
Yep.
Because your decisions in that game affect the outcome of the game. Mass Effect is that way from the very beginning. Every decision that you make affects, how your character arc goes throughout the game. But it also, and what intrigued me about this, when you brought this to me and say, hey, man, we're going to play Mass Effect, I went, all right, because I'm going to play a video game because that's what I do. But what intrigued me about this series is that the decisions you make in the first game affect the next two because you can transfer the save files.
Yep. And not only, so it'd be cool to see. I've even seen a little online where it says some of the things that you do in the first game affect only in the third game, not in the second game.
Sure.
So it'll be really interesting for us as people who've never played it before to see how that translates. RPG wise, I mean, it's to me, it's not a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls or Cyberpunk. One of the things I'm going to say I was disappointed in Mass Effect was there weren't any unique items. There wasn't anything like that. You find, a super weapon in some far hidden reach of the galaxy that you had to really investigate to find, which are like hallmarks of the Bethesda games and the Cyberpunk game. That said, this game has maybe the best story I've ever, for me, that I've ever played in a video game.
You mentioned that, and I do agree. It's a great story. I think the best video game story I've ever played was Final Fantasy X. It's just a remarkable story, but this is really good.
It's incredible. Playing it, and I found myself, most games when I play like an RPG, the cutscenes, I spacebar. I'm on the PC. Of course, I'm on the PC.
I played it on PS4.
I'm always going to spacebar those cutscenes. I don't care. Yeah. But Mass Effect, I looked forward to them. It was a good story.
I did too. The story is the majority of it.
Yeah.
Sure, you do have action, you have shooting, and everything that goes along with that, and character building, and there's a lot to the game. But the story is really what drives it and makes you want to take the next mission.
Yeah, because again, the drawbacks of the game are you get overpowered real easy. I mean, you were just rolling around, just I
got overpowered
people
quick.
Yeah, and it's not a challenge in that way. There's a couple scenarios that I was underpowered, like really only one that was early on. I went to a place I probably shouldn't have gone. Everything is like every base you would go into that was out in one of the stars was exact same layout.
Yeah.
There was no variation in that.
They were, and I mean, maybe you can say
the mines were the same. But all the rooms were the same. They had, like a bunker built.
And maybe you can say that's part of the civilization. It's just, they all have the same stuff. You get it from one place.
These are minor beefs.
Sure.
I'm really excited to see how the story continues in the second game.
I can't wait. And I can tell you this too. We had a different experience playing the game because we'd played it differently. Yeah. I went the hero path with the Paragon.
So did I.
And you did as well. But even within that, we had a very different play experience. For example, in the second game, I don't have a character at my disposal that he does.
Yeah.
Because we made a different decision.
I'm more charming.
He was more charming at the time. I was not, so my guy died. He will not affect the story moving forward for me, but he may for Chuck. It's just a really cool dynamic of the game, and I think you can play this game multiple times and get an infinite number of different outcomes.
Part of the replayability, right, which is really important. And again, probably at that time was more innovative than now. Games are made to be replayable like that.
Yeah.
Especially the RPGs, the ones that have and huge modding communities. I don't know if Mass Effect does. I suspect it probably does. I haven't checked into it as much. Any Bethesda game has a huge modding community. Cyberpunk has a huge modding community, so you can continue on and get new parts of the game even when the studio stops developing it.
There was one particular instance. There was a decision. I had no idea what the ramifications were, so I succumbed to temptation and I Googled it, and I wish I hadn't.
That's why you save a lot and you go back and redo it.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that a lot.
But there's a point in the game where you have to choose between the lives of two characters, and I went to go check out what the ramifications of that are. And
well, I knew I was saving Ashley regardless. This game's been out for 10 years. There's no spoilers to worry about.
Yeah, there really isn't.
More than 10 years. Yeah, I was saving Ashley every time over Caden.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Caden's...
Well, I never used him, so it was an easy choice for me. Yeah, exactly. He's a boring player, and Ashley's got really good combat stats.
She'll destroy.
For sure.
Yeah, she destroys.
I like the fact that her character is Ashley Williams, which Ashley J. Williams, who we all know
Bruce
is
Campbell in The Evil Dead.
Is Ash.
Army of Darkness.
That's cool. The other interesting thing about the game is that you can choose to romance one of the characters, or a few of the characters at this point. You choose between Ashley and the blue chick.
Liara?
Yes, Liara. I read it so many times, but you don't hear it a lot in the game. Anyway, we both chose the blue chick. So that's where our game will be similar. And, like I say, it's different. You have different choices that you can make throughout it, and it creates a different experience. And that's just, that's the joy of the game for me.
Really excited to see how the decisions that I made in the game affect Mass Effect 2.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a pivotal moment where you need Caden? Or for me...
Well, if you do, I'm screwed.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. But for me, is there a pivotal moment in the game where you need Rex?
I'm okay. Then you're screwed.
I don't have him. He does. It's an interesting thing. I'm really enjoying it so far. I can't wait to play Mass Effect 2, and we'll update you when we do.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on to Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be loads of fun. Chuck, you got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
In that case, I would like to remind you to check us out: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify, all that good stuff. Remember, likes are free. And we would like to know what you think of Mass Effect. Heck, the whole trilogy. Go ahead and spoil it in the comments. We won't look. We will.
We look at all the comments.
We do. Yeah,
we read all the comments. We try to respond to all the comments, good or bad.
All right, so don't do all of that. But either way,
leave them.
Make sure you share us with all your friends so they can join in the party as well. And with that, we will say,
what's on your nerd card?